Hey guys, Ash here again at Flight Sim Reviews, and today we're going to be looking at the PMDG 737NGX for FSX and the Autoland procedure. I did this before and I just wanted to do it again. I didn't have my throttle quadrant set up right last time, and I didn't go into really too much detail, and I want to give you guys a better look at how to do an Autoland. So anyways, let's get started. First thing we want to do is go into the initial reference page and double click that we want 30 degrees of flaps, so we get our VREF speed of 147 knots. And then also in this window we're going to be able to see that PDX 10 left, the runway we're landing at. Let me reset this to the next cleared altitude. Well, actually next cleared is 2300, but we'll set it at 2000. So we see that KPDX is 9825 feet long. So we're going to set our HGS to A3 arm to capture the landing mode, and elevation at Portland is 20 feet, and length is 9,825. So we'll go ahead and put those in and hit enter. Alrighty, that's primed. Also, what we want to go ahead and do is set our auto brakes to 3 for that landing length. Double check that our landing lights are on and that our ignition is on continuous. I am doing this landing blind. One of the guys on my comment said I should do it in ILS conditions, so let's do it in ILS conditions. Anyways, double check your landing altitude as well. 0 feet, whatever's closest to the actual field elevation. And double check that your lighting's set up. Also, you want to set your nav radios now to the runway's ILS frequency, which is 111.3. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Alrighty guys, you can now see that the primary DU here is tracking the runway, and the distance measuring equipment is saying it's 4.3 miles, and that our VREF speed is 147 knots indicated airspeed and 30 degrees of flaps. That means you're pretty much set up for the Autoland. You can also see that the Auto 3 arm is lit up on the HUD, which means the HUD will go into its mode once it captures the glide slope. We're 10.8 nautical miles from Trial, our next waypoint, and we should be at 2,300 feet at that point. And some drag may be required on this descent. It's pretty steep. Obviously the FMC will tell us drag required if that's the necessary step we need to take. Alrighty guys, so our terrain radar here is showing that the highest terrain being displayed at this point is 2,400 feet and the lowest is 1,200, and that we're right on the glide slope. The pink line is showing where the glide slope is in relation to the aircraft, so if it was lower it means we're too high, and if it was higher we would be too low. It's showing it in relation to the aircraft. And I have a barometric pressure, a barometric minimum set of 100 feet, and I'm going to go ahead and switch that over to radar. Now it's showing radio. Alrighty guys, so the plane's going to continue to decelerate here. Uh, 215 knots. Our target airspeed for this waypoint is 185 knots, indicated airspeed. Once we make the turn at Trial, I'm going to go ahead and go flaps 5 and gear down, just to help with some drag. Again, you can see in the HGS, or the heads-up guidance system, our DME distance, ILS1, and FMC speed, LNAV, and VNAV path
Radio altimeter
is selected. Gonna go ahead and give myself 5 degrees of flaps. Leading edge flaps transit is enunciated. We're at half-mile visibility. You can kind of see the ground down there. Okay, go ahead and arm the VOR localizer mode. You have to capture the localizer before you can do the Autoland approach mode. And go ahead and continue bringing down the flaps. You can hear the aircraft trimming itself for the approach here. And once we lose the LNAV indication here, we'll know that it has intercepted the localizer. Alrighty, we're now 30 degrees of flaps down. You can see obviously your overspeed line and your stall line. Alrighty guys, we now have the VOR locked here, so we're going to go ahead and once we get straightened out on the localizer, hit the approach button and autopilot A and B command mode selected. That's going to go ahead and give us our landing Autoland mode there, and you want to do VREF +5 for our approach speed. And we'll go ahead at this point and arm the speed brakes. Go ahead and let you watch this. At this point, MCP speed, VOR lock, and glide slope is selected. You can see the HUD just switched over to the Autoland mode. You have your vertical speed and our radar altimeter here. Actually, our barometric. Anyways, it should just stay right on glide slope. Now you can see that flare is armed. So once we are over the runway, the throttles will go to idle and the aircraft will flare. $1,000 feet. Getting a pretty good look at the terrain radar there. Also, you want to double check that your course knobs are set correctly for the runway, and they are. If you change them later, it wreaks all kinds of havoc with FSX and Autoland, so it's not advisable to tinker with them once you're in Autoland mode. As you can see, all the lights are off on the MCP. That's indicating that the only way to stop this Autoland process is to do a go-around. So they don't want pilots taking it off halfway on the approach and then trying to ham fly it. Alrighty guys, runway is in sight, and you can actually see the outline of it on the heads-up display or the HGS.
Approaching minimums.
And once the wheels touch, I'm going to go ahead and activate reverse thrust, idle, and begin manual braking at 80 knots.
20, 10.
Alrighty guys, reverse thrust is activated. Going to go ahead and maintain center line. Manually braking, and I'm going to go ahead at this point and disengage the autopilot. Alrighty guys, I hope that gave you a good look at another Autoland with the PMDG 737NGX for FSX. At this point we can just go ahead and roll the auto brake to off and throttle up, and that will reset the spoilers. Again, it's just a really great looking airplane on the outside. And the effects of the strobes on the ground and the nav lights and all that are just superb. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope that gave you a good look at how to perform an Autoland with this aircraft. And I hope you stay tuned for more flight sim reviews. Thanks again, guys.